Welcome to Eliminating Caregiver Chaos, the podcast where we stop pretending caregiving is just about tasks and start dealing with the real weight you're carrying, the emotional one. I'm DJ Castilleja, and I help family caregivers stop drowning in guilt, resentment, and burnout by teaching them how to actually process their emotions instead of just pushing them down and hoping for the best. Now, before we dive in, this podcast is for you, the caregiver on the go. Driving, folding laundry, prepping meals, stealing minutes in your car, I've got you. No notebook is needed. Just listen. Today, we're building on last time and taking it to the next level. We've been talking about the emotional mistakes that quietly crush caregivers, and today we're getting into something that hits close to home, the fatal flaw that lives inside the very best caregivers. So let's dive in. Let's talk about one of your greatest strengths and why it might also be working against you. Here's the strength. You ready? You are a giver. That's not a guess. If you're the one who stepped up to care for your parent, a spouse, a sibling, you are someone who gives. You give your time, your energy, your patience, your love, your resources. You're probably the person in your circle who will give the shirt off your back to a stranger or bring home the stray dog wandering the neighborhood without thinking twice. You're the one people call when things fall apart. You're the one who shows up. That giving nature is exactly what makes you capable of doing this incredibly hard thing called caregiving. But here's where we have to get really honest with each other today. That same quality, the thing that makes you extraordinary in this role, is also the thing putting you most at risk. Here's the fatal flaw. You believe your giving is limitless. You believe you can keep pouring from your cup without ever stopping to refill it. You tell yourself your body will keep going. Your spirit will find a way through. Your own needs can wait just until after the next appointment, just until the medications are managed, just until your loved one is comfortable and things settle down a little. But later never arrives. And the longer you keep pushing your own needs to the back of the line, the longer you keep telling yourself you'll get to it eventually, the closer you inch toward depletion, then exhaustion, then burnout. And here's the thing about burnout. It doesn't show up with sirens and flashing lights. It doesn't send you a calendar invite. It doesn't announce itself. It sneaks in quietly, like a slow leak in a tire. You don't notice it right away. You just keep driving, wondering why the ride feels bumpier than it used to. It starts with the fatigue you can't shake no matter how much coffee you drink. Then it's the irritability, that edge in your voice toward the people you love most, maybe your own kids and family, and you don't even want to feel it, but there it is. It's the resentment you keep pushing down and pretending isn't there. And eventually, your body starts sending the signals your heart has been ignoring. The tension locked in your shoulders, the headaches that won't quit, the sleepless nights that keep coming, the illnesses that stick around longer than they should because your immune system is running on fumes. Your body keeps the score even when your mind is trying to stay in control. I want to share something personal here because I think it illustrates exactly how fast our bodies respond to emotional stress. Not long ago, I received an email, and for just a split second, I had misread it. The content I thought I was reading sent a jolt of panic straight through me. I could feel the adrenaline and cortisol coursing through my body immediately. My heart started pounding, my chest tightened, I felt sick, and then I reread it and realized I had gotten it completely wrong. The situation was actually fine, but it didn't matter. By then, my body had already responded as if it were real. It took me hours to fully calm down, and days later, I was still carrying shoulder and neck pain from that one momentary misread. One moment, one misread email. Days of physical fallout later. Now imagine carrying that kind of emotional weight, not for a moment, but for months, for years, without ever giving it a release valve. That's what suppressing the weight of caregiving does to your body over time. It accumulates and it finds a way out one way or another. Now, let's talk about where this pattern gets relational, because this is where the fatal flaw gets complicated. When you are the one constantly giving and the siblings, the relatives, the friends are stepping back, resentment starts to build. And honestly, it makes complete sense. Maybe your brother lives 10 minutes away and rarely calls, while you are managing the daily realities of care. Maybe your sister swoops in occasionally and gets to play the fun role, bringing flowers, having a nice visit, being the hero for the afternoon. Your loved one probably boasts and is happy about it, while you are the one buried in doctor's appointments, bathing, paperwork, and sleepless nights. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a quiet voice keeps asking, why me? Why am I the only one carrying this weight? Here's the hard truth. Your giving nature actually works against you in those moments, because that same generous spirit is the very thing keeping you from setting the boundaries you desperately need. You say yes when every part of you wants to say no. You overextend when you know you should be stepping back. You go silent about your own needs because voicing them feels selfish, even when those needs are completely legitimate. And the more you give without limits, the more that unspoken resentment builds. You're not just drained physically and emotionally, you're beginning to build invisible walls between yourself, between the very people who could be a part of your support system. The bitterness and the isolation starts feeding each other. And before long, you're not just exhausted, you're disconnected. So I want to say something to you directly, and I need you to really hear this. Your fatal flaw is not that you care too much. It's that you've left yourself out of the circle of care. You have made everyone else's well-being your priority. You have put yourself last so consistently that it probably doesn't even feel like a choice anymore. It just feels like who you are. But here's what I need you to hear today. Your well-being is not optional. It is not something you earn after you've done enough. It's not a reward waiting for you at the finish line. It is foundational. Without your health, without your rest, without your emotional strength, there is no caregiving. You are the foundation, and foundations require maintenance. Think about it this way. A house can have beautiful rooms, updated appliances, fresh paint, but if the foundation is cracking, none of that matters. Everything above it is at risk. You are the foundation for your loved one. And if you keep ignoring the cracks, eventually something is going to give. Boundaries, rest, and self compassion are not luxuries. They are not indulgences for people who have it easier than you. They're not going to magically appear. They are lifelines. They are the maintenance your foundation requires to keep standing. And here's what I want you to understand. This isn't about doing less for your loved one. It's actually the opposite. When you stop leaving yourself out of the care equation, when you start treating your own needs as essential instead of optional, you don't just extend your ability to keep going, you deepen the quality of care you can give. You show up with more patience, more presence, more of yourself because there's actually something left to give. Caregiving is not about pouring until the cup is bone dry. It's about learning to give from a place that is renewed, replenished, and whole. So here is what I want you to do this week. Just one thing. Sit with this question, and I mean really sit with it, not just skim past it. Where have I left myself out of the circle of care? Not to pile guilt on top of everything else you're already carrying. You've got plenty of that already, but to be honest, to name it, because awareness is always, always the first step toward change. You cannot shift what you cannot see. And once you see it, you can start making different choices. Small ones at first, but different ones. And this isn't going to happen on its own unless you take action. So please do this step. You are not a machine. You are not limitless. And that is not a flaw. That is what makes you human. The goal isn't to give endlessly. The goal is to give sustainably from a place that is whole. I want to say something before I let you go today. The fact that you are here listening, whether it's in your car, folding laundry, or sitting in the parking lot listening to this, that means something. You are doing the work. You are paying attention to something that most caregivers never slow down long enough to look at. Give yourself credit for that. If today's episode hit close to home, and I have a feeling it might have, I want you to know that there is a place to go deeper with this work. Everything we talk about in this podcast, the emotional patterns, the burnout cycle, the practical tools for processing what you're carrying, we work through all of it in a structured, supportive way at eliminatingcaregiverchaos.com. If you're ready to stop just surviving caregiving and start leading with clarity and confidence, that's where you come next. The link is also in the show notes. And if this episode helped you today, do me a favor, hit subscribe, leave a review, and share this with another caregiver who needs to hear it. You'd be amazed how many people are carrying this weight alone, just waiting for someone to tell them they're not the only one. Next episode, we'll be shifting gears. We spent a lot of time identifying what's going wrong. Now we start talking about what to do about it, and you're not going to want to miss it. Until then, the chaos doesn't have to be permanent. We're eliminating it together. Take care of yourself out there, and I'll talk to you next time. Feel free to reach out, leave a comment. I love replying, so please feel free to reach out, and I would love to talk with you.